Back Chat, the podcast from Got Your Back, the channel where we speak about what we as young people want to talk about. You can join us on Instagram or Facebook by searching GYB Hull, and make sure to subscribe, follow, so you can be the first to hear new episodes of this podcast twice a month. I'm Lucy, and I've got Declan, Josh, Scarlett, and Jess with me today.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hello. All right.
Last month we covered relationships and sex ed, which was really interesting. But this month, a lot of us are stepping back into our places of education for the first time again in a few months. So we wanted to talk about this today because through our followers, we've had some feedback about how young people in Hull are feeling about this. And 82% of our followers haven't returned to school or college or uni yet. And although between them there were mixed opinions about how they felt, a big chunk expressed anxiety about going back. So how do you guys feel about going back to education after such a long period of just completely being online?
To be fair, I don't want to go back.
I couldn't wait.
Quite
Now that I'm back, I want to be back off.
So, Declan, when do you go back?
I go back tomorrow.
That's bad.
Yeah, I know, painful.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I was gonna say I know they've had like mass testing in different schools and unis and whatever. I don't know if I think they're doing it in unis because people are going home, but and lots of people were having them. But yeah, if anyone wants to talk about how they're not looking forward to going back, go ahead.
I just don't. I'd prefer to be online. I'm in year 11 at the moment and I've got 3 months left at school. I'd just prefer to be online for it at this point.
Fair enough.
I went back today, so today was my first day back. And I think I was a bit nervous at first, but I wasn't necessarily nervous for the school part. It was more, oh my God, I'm seeing people who I haven't seen in months. Do I even know how to socialise anymore? It was like, oh my God. But I got here and it was tiring more than anything. I think the anxiety kind of goes because it is pretty normal, like except for wearing masks. You have to wear masks in the classrooms now, which we didn't have to do before. But except for that, it seems, I don't know whether it's just like me who feels that it's just like instantly gone back to normal. It doesn't feel like it's weird. It doesn't even feel like we had the time off. So it's not too bad. I think probably after about a week of it, I'll hate it again. But so far, today was all right.
I think the fact that, I think we had that introduction. I mean, like, I wasn't part of it because I've not been in education for a year, but I'm going into education in September. I think the reason why it doesn't feel as weird now is because you've kind of already done it. Like in September, everybody went back, like not expecting what it was going to be like. Whereas now you kind of know. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll all have to wear a mask, you'll all have to social distance. So that's why you're probably feeling like that. I don't know if that's what anybody else is feeling.
Yeah. I think the government actually did schools a lot better this time, going back after the pandemic. And also, like, at least this time they had online education, whereas obviously there was a period of time in the first lockdown where there was no education whatsoever. So at least you've kind of stayed in some form of education. I mean, I'm still completely online at uni. That isn't changing until probably my second year now. I don't think we're getting any in-persons till October, which is great.
Great.
Yeah, I'm just living on campus now purely for the fact that home is far too boring. I think most of us kind of feel like, why waste the opportunity to be on campus? But we haven't been tested or anything. They really haven't dealt with it very well. I mean, my uni has no active cases, which is obviously really good, but we didn't have to get tested when we came back or anything. So they haven't done what they did for school children for us.
I think that's the thing I'm dreading about next year is just like, well, it's not even next year, it's in September. And I keep thinking, maybe it might be back to normal. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it might be back to normal, but I'm not really sure. So Declan, you're in year 11. Scarlett, you're in year 10.
Yeah.
And Josh, what year are you in? Are you in year 10 as well?
I'm in year 11.
You're in year 11 as well. So doing your GCSEs, how's that been working for you? And like, have you just gone back to teaching, or is it different completely? And what about exams and things like that? How are you feeling about the fact that you can't do exams?
It's a bit different in the way that people are approaching it at school. So some of my teachers have said that they're not teaching us anything new, just because
Right.
they're just going to give us the assessment type things on what we know, which was a bit weird. But it's all just been a bit strange, really. And then when we found out, like, we've been told that we aren't allowed to do any proper assessments for a while, and then being told that we won't be told our grades on anything up until we leave.
That seems really unfair.
I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, same here, really. Like, a lot of my teachers aren't teaching us anything new, and in a way I'm glad, but it's not year 11 as you'd imagine it. At my school we're still doing the whole prom summer ball kind of thing, despite the fact that I don't think it's very safe, but I don't run the school.
Well, the thing is though with that is, you're all pretty much interacting anyway. Like, obviously you've got masks on, but if they're planning on doing something, I think it's better than nothing. I feel really bad for the people that missed out last year. I missed out on my year 13 prom, but it's nowhere near as big as the year 11 one. So I think if you can get anything in, it's probably a good thing, but it's right near that cusp of the June 21st, everything back to normal statement, isn't it? Prom's normally around that time.
Yeah, definitely. Just hope they don't ruin it.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because so many people got hyped up for that, and so many people think about that being like your end of education. Like you do college, or some people go off and do work, or some people do apprenticeships. There we go. But I think prom kind of marks that kind of end, which is kind of sad for a lot of people, and especially I know it's so weird thinking that I left college a year this month, even though I should have finished it in May, which is absolutely bizarre. It's so weird, and you build up to something and then it doesn't happen. It's like that adrenaline that we were talking about and getting anxious about it, and then it doesn't happen. And yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird because it got cut short, and I think a lot of people that were in the kind of exam years, they talk about exams from year 7 to year 11, and then the whole of college is about exams. To then not have them, it's kind of a weird thing.
Such a weird thing.
But even for people like going into year 11 now, sending you guys back almost seems pointless. Like, no offense, guys, but it's like, why are you risking 300 students per school when they're not learning anything new, they're not working towards anything, they're getting grades just handed to them, from what their teachers would assess them before. Why are you sending them back when realistically you need to be focusing on the 7 to year 10 who are going to have to actually do their exams? It doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest.
Jess, you said that with such morale, like you were political statement straight in.
It annoys me.
Straight to the point.
Well, it annoys me because we finished in March last year, and they never when after Easter, when they started doing online education for every year 11 and 13 didn't have that. I didn't. I don't know if anyone else did, but I just had the time off. I had 7 months off before I started my course in October. And it's just kind of like the year 11s this year are going back to school when it's probably not all that safe to do absolutely nothing.
So one thing that our followers did say was that they don't really feel safe going back to school or college or even uni. It can be a bit scary. So they didn't, and they did say, some of them, that the schools weren't concerned with their safety. And do you think this is the case? Like for Scarlett, you mentioned about face masks being worn in the classroom. Is there anything else that your school are doing more to protect kids, or do you feel like this isn't the case?
I think it's all quite similar to what it was before Christmas, but so we have a staggered start. The year groups, it's basically all separated in year groups, so we have separate break times, separate lunch times, and we're all in one classroom as well for all day. So instead of moving to different classrooms, the teachers moved to us, so they've kind of just limited the interactions with different year groups and different people who you're not in the classroom with. But my school, we had like an assembly thing, well, not an actual assembly, like a Google Meet assembly this morning in our classrooms. And the government, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure that the government rules are you have to wear your masks in the classroom. But our school has said we highly advise you always wear your mask in the classroom. So some people, I think, to be fair, my class, from what I've seen, have been pretty good, and most of us had them on all day. But like, I don't know if the government rules like you have to have them on, but our school only said we highly advise it. So some people just didn't have them on in the classroom. Yeah,
that was crazy though when I found that out, that before Christmas school students didn't have to, because we had in-person seminars until the second lockdown in November, and we had to have masks on the entire time during the seminar, but we were sat one person to a table. So we would be in a lecture theatre and there'd be 20 of us, so we were literally like maybe not even 5 meters from the nearest person. It was really, really spread out, and we still had to wear masks. I remember asking my sister, who's now in year 10, and she says she didn't have to. So I actually think it's a good thing that they've implemented that for secondary school, because it was crazy to me that you guys didn't have to beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to. I think definitely we should have to wear them, but I also think it's very difficult to get a lot of people to do it, because it's like a long time to be wearing a mask, and it's a lot of people just don't want to do that. Like, a lot of people will just say no. So it's like the people who will do it, yeah, we should do it, but I think it's just very difficult to get secondary school students to wear a mask for 6 hours from seeing it myself. Like, I mean, it's
I remember for us, the most stupid part about the masks. So the thing is, I completely get wearing them in public spaces. They went as far as to make us wear them in our own accommodation blocks. So anytime we left our flat, we had to have a mask on. And then when we were in isolation in October, when there was obviously the massive spike in cases when uni students went back initially, and we had to wear them in our own kitchen. So the only time I didn't have a mask on was in my bedroom. It was insane. It literally, you got to the point where you didn't even want to leave your bedroom, because it was like, I have to wear a mask. So essentially, so you didn't catch it from your own flatmates. So then you weren't even allowed to interact with your own social bubble. It was this massive mess.
Jeez. So you can't even walk to the toilet in your accommodation block without putting a mask on.
Well, I'm lucky I have an ensuite.
And that's all right then.
Yeah, but if you had a shared bathroom, I'm not sure what the rule is about.
No.
Yeah, and then if you got corona in a shared bathroom accommodation, they moved you out of it to either this dingy hotel on campus or another accommodation block. It was horrible. I was so lucky that, I didn't get it first of all, but also I was in an ensuite room, so I could kind of close myself up a bit.
Oh, sorry. I'm joking.
Just stay away. I was in a sandwich. Both of the people in the rooms next to me had it, and I was just in this little sandwich of corona. I managed not to get it.
Oh, bless you. Were you anxious at all? And with going back to uni, obviously after Christmas, was that a problem? Or because obviously I think you're coming back now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm back on campus now. I came back on the 16th of Feb so we had a rent waiver until the 14th. And basically at home it was pretty boring, and all of my friends had gone back pretty much. So it was kind of I might as well go back to my uni. And I had a few friends on campus coming back, but it was a little bit anxious because I didn't know how strict everything was going to be. And we've had massive issues with our residential life tutors since we got back. We would be, there was only 3 of us in my flat for quite a while. We've got 6 now out of the 12, which is really good, but we did only have 3. So we were mixing with another flat in our block that only had 2 people in their flat. And our residential life tutor was coming in all the time and, threatening us with fines in meetings and all this kind of stuff for corona. And, we weren't having parties or anything. We weren't doing anything stupid. We were literally eating our food, and they'd be coming in. So that was the worst part, because it was kind of, you don't even feel safe in your own kitchen because people come in all the time to tell you to not do this and to not do that. And the rules were the worst. Like, I understand if we've got 20 people in our kitchen and we're having a party, but we've never done that. So it got a bit crazy, but it's good. It is good to be back. And I think a lot of pupils will say the same. Those people that enjoy school or enjoy socialising, just to see other people's faces. It's nice.
Do you think it was the same with, so like Declan and Josh, do you think in class, like, and around school, because I know like my secondary were strict enough as it was, but do you think that the rules in secondary, and Scarlett as well, do you think that they're a bit more strict? Like, how are they handling it? Is it, and has it made you feel sort of anxious to go to school?
In a sense. I don't live close enough to my school to be lucky enough to walk to where I have to get on a bus. So on the buses, there isn't any staff member on there apart from the bus driver. No one wears their face masks. Which
public transport
makes like wearing a mask totally redundant. And people always complain, but it's never going to be enforced because the bus driver doesn't get paid enough, to be frank. But it's not too bad at school. A school have tried to keep us in one area, but there hasn't been too much mixing of the bubbles, as they're calling them. But to me, it goes out the window, the whole, don't mix with someone else, because I get on the bus.
Yeah, I didn't even think about buses. I mean, that's just... I never liked school buses anyway. Never mind now. I hate buses in general. But yeah, I can't imagine getting on a school bus with like, I don't know, however many people are on there, 30, 40 kids not wearing a mask. But then it's kind of, you can't really put the staff from the school on the bus to watch it, because then they're breaking their social bubble. But then you can't not have buses because some people can't get to school without them. It's a really flawed system.
I mean, how my school tried to avoid the people not wearing masks was, before the bus leaves school, we'll get someone to get on the bus and check they're wearing masks. Don't really work, considering the second it gets out of the school gates, they all come off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But then I don't understand why, because the thing is, you guys are like, once you get to secondary school, you're 11 to 16. You're old enough to understand the rules. Like, for me, it's kind of a... Like, if I think a rule's stupid, then I think a rule's stupid. But at the end of the day, it's a rule, and it's kind of like, okay, well, you need... Like, there's no harm to yourself by wearing a mask. You're not doing anything wrong to yourself. If it was going to affect your day, then, okay, that's a different thing. But putting a mask on is not a difficult thing, and it's not something that I think you should fight over. Pick and choose your battles. Sticking a piece of cloth over your face is not really a battle that is worth fighting, in my opinion.
I think it's quite funny because like when I was in secondary school, we all had these like little trends and stuff like that, and I thought wearing face masks and wearing like different coloured ones and wearing different ones with different patterns on would become quite fashionable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like wearing my well, I don't love wearing face masks, if I had to choose, but I do. But I quite like the idea of buying different face masks with different patterns on. I thought at like school, people would be like, I don't know, just there'd be like a certain trend with face masks. So I've got one with zebra print on it, and and it's not, and I'm really disappointed by that.
I've got the ones that look like the NHS ones, but because I'm extra, I got pink ones. That's my kind of face mask flex.
I can imagine the friendship group conversations of, my face mask's better than yours.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No, look, today, okay, so Wednesdays is going to be pink face mask day. Then Fridays is animal print face mask day. Mondays, it's emoji face mask day. That should be a thing. That should be a thing.
My school, when we reopened all the way back in September, you didn't have to wear masks in classrooms. So if I wanted to wear a mask in a classroom, I wouldn't be allowed, because I would have, and this is a quote from one of my teachers, I wouldn't be allowed because I might try to eat under a face mask.
Oh my God.
You're kidding me. You're not allowed to be safe because we're scared that you're going to eat
God forbid.
in the classroom.
God forbid.
Really? I don't understand. The thing is, I don't understand a lot of the rules at school, and the eating in the classroom one is one that I just don't get.
Yeah, it's certainly
Like,
something.
That shouldn't be their main priority issue in a pandemic. Is Declan, don't eat raisins in the classroom. We don't want you sneaking raisins into your mouth while we're trying to teach a lesson. It's distracting.
And the teachers turn round and it's like, it's impossible to eat under a face mask.
We wouldn't be able to do the fun face mask days because my school said you're only allowed like medical ones or plain black ones.
Same here.
So,
Really?
Yeah. So, but my friend has like a pastel pink one that with like spots on that she's managed to get away with because it's like fairly plain and they don't really want to ask her to buy a new one because that's just a bit out of order. But yeah, they basically sent out a letter that was like, it's got to be plain or a medical one. So it'd be great if we could have fun coloured ones. But
that's surely something that shouldn't matter. Like, if a kid's wearing a face mask, they're wearing a face mask. Like, it's better for them to wear it and want to wear it than tell them they have to wear the horrible blue
Yeah, my
ones.
school did the same.
Or like the... Yeah,
Claiming
I
it
don't
was-
get that. Come on,
It's
stop
stupid.
making up stupid rules.
Yeah, my school claimed
Yeah.
it was distracting to other students if you wore a bright yellow face mask, for example.
yeah,
Along with everything else that's distracting about schools.
Yeah.
If I was back at school now, I would wear makeup, my nails would be done, I would have 3 earrings in, jewellery, because I don't get those rules. I don't know why I even bothered following them. Those rules are so stupid.
My school has a rule you're only allowed to wear 1 ring, and there was a point where literally teachers came around the classrooms and looked at people's hands, and if they had like 2 rings on, they'd be like, "Nope, you take one off." Like, it's just the stupidest thing.
We were allowed no jewellery except 1 stud in each ear. And that was the only thing we were allowed.
That's it, man.
Do you remember, Lucy? And then they came and did skirt checks every like September. The skirt check, and it got to the point where they brought out this skirt. This is when we left, Lucy. They brought out a skirt, and it was like you had to go and get your skirt approved, and then you would get a red square sewn onto your skirt, or you bought a school one. So all the girls the next year rebelled, and now everyone wears trousers because the skirt rule was so stupid.
See, when I went back, I was expecting my school to release like a branded face mask and make it part of the uniform policy. But they didn't.
Yeah, I would have expected
I
that.
wouldn't be surprised.
Wyke did that.
Oh,
Wyke did
gosh.
that, and it's purple.
I'd actually wear that.
I don't know. I feel like with those sort of things, like I know that Wyke got a preparing, like they got like a pack of things. So, you know, obviously because with social distancing and with cleaning your hands and whatever, and because everything had to be sanitized, they made a pack for every student going back. Because my sister got one, and you got like a whiteboard of your own, a face mask of your own, branded face mask, Wyke of course, and like a pen and all this kind of stuff that you had to use and you couldn't use anybody else's. And I think that was a good thing.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea in that sense, because like whiteboards and pens, I mean, they're grim at the best of times. You don't really want to be using another one that someone else has used.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, then there's no fighting over the best whiteboard pen when they all get passed around and someone's like, I want the one that's got the nice nib on it that can make me write nice. And not the flat and squished ones.
The best thing you would want to do in primary school is to just hand out the whiteboards and pens, because you could just pick out the best ones for yourself and take them off you.
And the glue sticks, you could always pick the heaviest
Yeah.
one, you know, that would actually have glue in it.
The lightest one you give to people you don't like. You took them off.
So with prepping for back to school, how have you guys prepared to actually go back? Like, did you have to think, oh my God, like, did anybody grow out of any like trousers or jumpers whilst they're in lockdown? I know my brother grew out of his pair of shoes, so he had to buy a new pair of school shoes. Did anybody else kind of need anything new, or how did you prepare, like, mentally and physically, I suppose?
See, today I tried on my school clothes just to check they all still fit, and the fact they've sat there for many months without being touched. Luckily they did all fit, but it would have been quite funny if they didn't, because where are you supposed to buy a uniform from? It's all
Oh, that's
clothes.
so true. Yeah.
I hadn't done much to prepare back to school. That's all I've done, really.
I ordered a pack of pens off Amazon, and that was it. That was the only thing I did. I got some new pens, so that was it.
I love a stationery haul.
In lockdown, I went up a full shoe size from a 12 to a 13. I went from a 12 to a 13.
Josh.
So, just before we had gone into like full lockdown, it's supposed to be like a mock interview day at school, so I bought like stuff for that, and luckily I got the shoes in the right size. So I've been wearing them, but there's blisters everywhere because they're like proper shoes and not like comfortable trainer type. So I've got like blisters all over my feet.
Can I just quote you there? Proper shoes, as opposed to what? Thugs?
No, at my school, they say as long as they're polishable, you can wear them. So like people go like with Air Force Ones, black Air Force Ones. People go with them, and I used to have like these like Puma type like trainers, but like polishable.
Yeah, most people just wear like leather look trainers, don't they, to school?
Yeah.
I was never that cool. I had like the brogue things. I was never cool enough for trainers.
I've got to be careful with mine because I look stupid on the size 13.
Clown foot.
I was going to say, how are you a size 13?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it,
I was going to
I'm
say.
6'4", so I think it kind of comes with the height.
Jeez.
Oh, that's all right then. I mean, I've been a size 5 since I was like 10 years old, and my feet have never grown. And I'm quite glad about that, to be honest.
I just keep growing. I don't know when I'm going to stop.
You're 6'4", but your cousin's like 2 foot. What happened?
She is.
Oh my god, Declan, not the cousin every single
I know why.
I feel really bad for this cousin because she's just gonna listen to the podcast and her name and she gets dropped in every single time.
It's all Declan. It's all Declan.
It's not me.
I actually have a question about going back. Has there been any petty drama that there was before? Because I want to know, honestly.
I want to know this.
Know.
This is why I miss being in education. The petty drama.
I love stuff like that, but no.
No, there hasn't been
Actually,
any.
my school's been quite good because yesterday when we got back, we got into school and our tutor time got extended for 2 hours. I think we were in tutor for yesterday. They made us all sausage sandwiches and got like a full like company to do like barbecues and sausage sandwiches.
Beautiful.
They had all these cakes and donuts and everything out that you can go and get. They had all like coffee and that and tea and everything was on offer. And we had an hour to just sit down and catch up with everyone and see how everyone was doing.
Oh, wow.
We had a 20-minute assembly and then a chemistry lesson, so we didn't get anything.
We got into tutor at 9 o'clock and we didn't start lessons till 20 past 11.
Oh my god, no. We literally went straight into lesson. Like there wasn't, we got like it was like an expectations assembly that they kind of do, like they just do it randomly anyways.
And then they're horrible.
It was literally just straight into lesson. Like there wasn't, it was literally like, no time to catch up. Literally just.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't get that though, because when you come back from summer, you always have like the first week is these are the expectations, nice to meet you all, let's do a get to know you task, blah blah blah. You've been off for longer than that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And they haven't done any of that. Like no wonder people didn't want to go back. If they're going to go back and people are going to almost forget that there's a pandemic going on and just go, okay, let's learn about bonding.
Bonding.
Yeah.
Let's do osmosis.
Yes. Yeah, where did we leave off? Right, so we learnt about active transport and then now we're going to know. I want to know if everyone's still alive, not about biology.
Yeah. But with interacting with people and like actually having, going back, because I felt like recently when I've been on buses or trains or whatever, going wherever, even going to the shops, and I've got a new job recently as well. I feel like mixing with other people and talking to other people and having conversations with other people is so weird when you've just got used to sitting at your desk and doing like work from home every day and just being in your own company, and suddenly you have to talk to people again. Like how's that felt at school? Because obviously you get to see your friends again, but obviously you can't hug them and stuff like that.
I've loved it, to be fair. Because during lockdown I saw nobody, like absolutely nobody. And then I've come to school and there's all my friends, and I've even discovered I missed the people who I didn't like all the people I hated. I've missed them. I've missed just being able to say I hate them. Like,
You've missed having a reason to rant.
Yeah, I've missed being able to just say, go away and just have a go at people. It's just, everything's just got back to some form of normality, and it's just gotten kind of better.
Yeah, I guess even having like a routine is a good thing. Because when you're at home, realistically, you can quite easily do absolutely nothing with your day. I was talking to one of my friends on my course, and we were sat there. I'll have to play the voice note at some point. I'm not going to play it on this podcast. But I have a voice note from her where she sat there saying to me, she's like, I can spend the whole day doing nothing and feel so accomplished by it. And that, I think when you're at home, it's so easy to do that. You could sit in front of your computer, right, and your day's off for an hour and you've missed a lesson. Then you decide there's a good YouTube video to watch, and then you miss another lesson. And then you don't get dressed because there's no need to, because you're not going anywhere. At least if you're at school, you actually have to pay some form of attention to what you're doing. I feel like it's easier to be in a routine when you're not just in your room at home, because you have to get up and get dressed and do your teeth and have breakfast. Like, there's Sundays I'll go to bed at 6 a.m. at uni, wake up at 5 p.m. Today it was not one of those days. I woke up at 3 and then not get dressed because there's no point. And I won't go into the kitchen till 7 p.m. and that's when I have my lunch. And it's just crazy. So it's good to actually have a routine.
Definitely. Yeah, I find that worse though, because I'm not very good at forcing myself to do things. If like I don't have to do something, I probably won't do it, which isn't very good. But at least, yeah.
I sent a very suck-up email to all my teachers saying thank you for your hard work over lockdown and helping us so much.
Oh, Josh.
You did it.
Just to get in there a little bit more.
We got a teacher's pet on the team.
That is the way to get ahead.
It's worked, because I got loads of emails back.
I mean, I told my teacher he was useless, my maths teacher, 2 weeks before. It was parents' evening 2 weeks before the first lockdown. I told my maths teacher, it was Mr. Oh wait, I'm not going to out him on this, but I told him he was useless and the worst teacher I'd ever had, and that he taught me nothing, and I was having to teach myself the content for A-level maths, and then he gave me a C. So sucking up is the way to do it, because I really got my karma from that, honestly.
Oh, I did that. I did that at the end of my A-levels. I wrote them a massive email and was like, look, I even emailed the head teacher, who was quite, you know, like, he taught me one of my courses. So he was very like, you know, you know,
you were in there, Lucy.
Yeah, I'm in there, basically. And I emailed him and was like, thank you for, like, working so hard, and did what Josh did, basically. And, you know, I got the grades I got.
Teachers, but if you did it. You did the same thing.
It works, though. You've got to use your tactics. You've got to use your tactics, honestly.
So do you think it's common for people to feel anxious about going to school or college or uni after summer? So we're talking about September term, or normally outside of a pandemic. So have you ever kind of felt that, like going back to school normally? Because 71% of our followers said that they hate going back, except the fact that they've been excited to see their friends again. So like, obviously, Josh, you said you were quite excited to see your friends again. But do you think it's kind of normal to feel anxious? And do you think the pandemic's heightened it for some people, and why?
Yeah, I normally feel a bit like anxious before I go back from like summer.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, and I think that because the fear of, I know a lot of people that had never had like a lateral flow test before, so everyone was scared about that. So I know a lot of people were nervous about going back to that.
Yeah, I've not had one actually.
We've had 2 already this week. We had one on Friday just before we came back, and then one today. And then I think we've got another one on Thursday as well.
You have to have twice a week, isn't it?
I was doing 3 times a week.
Oh, geez. I remember going back to school. I mean, anywhere. I mean, uni, obviously, it's a whole different experience, so I wasn't, like, as nervous. But I remember going back in September and you're thinking, oh, my God, what bag is everyone going to have? What pencil case is everyone going to have? Have people changed their hair? Am I going to still fit in with these people? I think that was always a big thing. I think with the pandemic,
Everything was so much easier then.
Yeah, but there was this massive thing of like reinventing yourself during the pandemic that I would be worried that other people had this massive glow up and they've got this bag and this pencil case and this water bottle, and you've still got your one from September, which is no longer in trend. That would be my massive thing with it. I think that's what I'd be worried about. But I would be nervous to go back in case things had changed and it wasn't the way that I kind of remembered it.
Yeah. I think also, like, after summer, you're excited to go back and see your friends, but you also will have seen your friends over summer. So it's, like, not as much as a thing, whereas you've seen no one. So it's, like, even more of a kind of shock because you literally haven't seen anyone where you will have, like, at least met up with them a couple times over summer, probably.
Had anyone made like massive changes to their like appearance and stuff when you go back? Because when you go back after summer, there's always that random person that got a fringe and it looks awful, or like.
I mean, I went from having a big fringe to now being like have almost no hair, if that counts.
Oh yeah,
I noticed that.
I think that counts.
I think a lot of people have haircuts. Actually, no, they will have haircuts now. But in April, they'll have haircuts.
Yeah.
Or some people might have had a home haircut and shaved, like Josh said. That can be a thing. People might have dyed their hair. I dyed my hair in lockdown, in the first lockdown.
There's a lot of people dyed it pink.
Well, I
dyed mine pink.
Really? I accidentally dyed my hair ginger on my 18th last year. So then I went and it was really bad. It was meant to go blonde. It went ginger. So I was ginger for like the first bit of lockdown. And then in September, I went and got it done blonde. And it looks all right now. But I made a massive error with my hair. So home dyeing is not the way, guys. Don't do it.
No, not the way forward. Do you think, like, starting new friendships, like, on that sort of subject, do you think starting education at a new school, or, like, because some people might have moved schools, and especially for me and Jess, I know Jess obviously had to go back to is it Bristol or Birmingham?
It's Warwick, so it's just down from
it's
Birmingham.
Warwick.
Listen up, it's near Birmingham.
I swear it was Birmingham, but we'll go with Warwick. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm going to Leeds in September, and that's a really big move for me. I mean, it's like probably an hour away from Hull, but it's still something that I'm kind of, especially in a pandemic, I'm still kind of nervous about. I have a lot of sympathy for people like that. I mean, and
it was
obviously
nervous to move in. It was scary to move in, and I think. The thing with us is, I mean, you'll probably have a freshers. We didn't have a freshers. So we just kind of moved in, and it was like online freshers, which nobody really wants to do that. Or you like just have to break the rules. So like, I mean, the reason COVID cases were so high for unis is because the universities didn't put on any freshers events, whether they were going to be safe or not, there was none put on in person. So the only way to meet people outside of your flat was to break the rules and go to parties. Essentially, which obviously we all did. I mean, I would have like no friends. I mean, my flat's great, but like you can't just stay with your flat the whole year. So the only way to meet friends is to do things that aren't legal. Like I think now it's not too bad because you have your friends. But when it was September, when things were still open in pubs and stuff and bars and everything, you'd literally just go out and meet people that way. But it was scary because normally it's like, okay, there's this freshers event, I'll meet these people, and there's this freshers event, and I'll meet these people. But it was really like, okay, do I break the law and risk getting fined to meet people, or do I sit in my room and be sad? It was a difficult one.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm more worried about the fact that not necessarily freshers, because I know that you make friends as you go along, but I think just the way that the uni handle it.
Yeah, you do.
And also the rebellion, like you said, because the uni might not put on freshers, but the students will put on freshers, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, there's never going to be that. The one thing I found, I was quite lucky that my flat's all none of my flat was very kind of I don't want to say COVID safe. We were all safe. Like, we all wore our masks when we needed to. And when we had symptoms, we would go get tested. Like, it wasn't like that. But we didn't have the people in my flat that would, like, you know, sprag on us for doing something we shouldn't really be doing.
I suppose.
Because if you had a flatmate that would tell on you, I mean, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I suppose the nice thing that we can all kind of relate to, all of us, is that we're all in this together, which sounds really cliche, but when you've got your friends at school and you've seen them again, and even like Jess saying about her flatmates not spragging on her, we're all part of this thing and we're all going through it together. It's not just, you know, one person's going through it. I mean, we'll be going through it differently and dealing with it differently, but the nice thing is that we're all going through this new change, no matter what we're doing, whether we're going back to school, whether we're going back to uni. We've all, you know, you've got your friends at the end of the day you're doing this with, which is really nice to sort of, I mean, I suppose to sort of end on, really, because we've pretty much...
Yeah, no, I agree, you're right. It's good.
Yeah.
Right, I'll give it a bit of a close. So, thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, we've got your back Hull on YouTube, and you can also follow our Instagram. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the podcast.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! Bye, guys.